This is Spiritual Rants for May 29th. The year before this, we did podcasts on the one-year Bible that lasted about 60 to 70 minutes a week. So this year I thought, let's do like 16 minutes a week. And now I'm thinking, let's try a couple of minutes every few days. You think I can do it? Oh, by the way, this is Jerry Rothhauser. I probably can. It'd be a miracle. But I promised an exposition of Romans 5 through 8, because that gives us the core ideas of spirituality out of the Bible. So here we go. Just Romans 5 today. It's called It's All Grace. So just one idea I'd like you to take to heart today, and that is God's grace and how big it is. You ever heard of that hymn, Grace Greater Than All My Sin? It comes from Romans 5. That's a great summation of this great chapter. It's all grace, or grace greater than all my sin. Now, a lot of people don't know how to read the Bible, and so I'm throwing in another idea this day, which is look for things that repeat. And in this instance, in Romans 5, here's what you find. It's a phrase that repeats much more. You find it in verse 8 and verse 15 and 17 and verse 20. Did you get all that? Now in 20 it says all the more instead of much more, but it's basically the same thing. Now here's what Paul, the Apostle Paul, was trying to get through to us about God and our life with Him and our experience with Him. And it's this, that God's grace is greater than any sin we would commit. You don't believe me, right? What about mass murderers? Well, there is a mass murderer, and I can't remember his name, but you would know. He was in Florida, and that's where I think he was captured, and he killed young women, one after another, and yet he professed Christ before he died. And I believe God's grace covered him. Oh, okay. Well, mass murderers, you're not buying that at all, right? Okay, how about, you ever heard of these famous guys in Scripture? David, Moses, they were murderers. God's grace covered them. You probably didn't murder anyone today, right? So whatever sin, I hope not, any sin that you have committed is going to be less than that. And it could be something small, but it's big to you, but not to God, because His grace is greater than all sin. And here's another thing you could find in that chapter, if you do a Bible study in it, is gift. Look up gift in Romans 5, and that's repeated several times there. And that's the idea. It's not about you and your works. It's just not. Now, it is all about you, but it's not about you and your works. It's about God and His grace, and it's greater than all of your sin. And I'll just throw this in, that it's not about works that you do. It is about works that proceed from grace. But we'll talk more about that as we get into Romans 6. And I hope you'll be downloading, and tell your friends to download as well. And just take in this small thought, which will have a great impact on your life if you understand that God's grace is greater than all your sin.